Hello students, today's video is for BBA third year finance students and we will discuss the subject SAPM, Security Analysis and Portfolio Management. Dear students, in the last videos we were discussing regarding the various types of risk. That is in your you can say under unit 2 we are discussing the various types of risk and we have successfully completed that also. In today's video we will discuss regarding the concept of risk and return relationship. So the risk return relationship is a very important question from exam point of view also. So we need to understand the concept of risk and the concept of return, then only we can able to understand the relationship between these two. So what we can say, the risk is nothing but it is the probability of occurrence of loss due to any specific reason, and it is also the chance of making the loss. So risk is the probability of occurrence of getting the loss, whereas the return is always characterized from the investor's point of view. From the investor's point of view, we always need to study the return from investor's point of view, because it is the investors who always looking for this return. Return is nothing but the expectations of the investor on their investment, the expectation of the investors from their investment. So return, basically we can say it is always in the form of incomes, maybe by way of dividend, maybe by way of interest, maybe by way of other commissions, etc. So return part is totally related to the investors. So in today's video, we will be looking forward the concept of return. Return is nothing but the expectations made by the investors. So the risk and return always plays a vital role from each other, because risk and return is the two words which are highly correlated to each other. So the risk return relationship, or we can also call it as what you can say the risk return trade off, both are having the same meaning, the risk and return relationship and the risk and return trade off. So in today's video I will explain you in a detailed manner how does the relationship exist between risk of the securities and their return from the securities. So if we talk about the concept of risk, risk is nothing but the probability of making the loss. Whereas return is associated with expectations made by the investors. And if we talk about the relationship, so there always exists so there always exists a positive relationship. There always exists a direct or positive relationship between the risk of the securities and the expected return. So whenever the investors want to invest in any securities, they are taking some sort of a risk. Now the concept of a risk and return arises due to the different types of customers. For example, suppose Mr. X is an investor and which want to deposit his money in the risk-free securities. So Mr. X goes to any nationalized bank or any postal schemes or postal financial services and invest the money in the FDs, that is fixed deposit, either through any nationalized bank or through any, what you can say, the postal schemes. So by doing this, when Mr. X want to invest the money in risk-free securities, then the concept of risk and return does not arise, simply because risk and return arise only when the security is not risk-free or the security is completely riskier. On the other hand, when the investors invest their money in risk-free securities like bank FD, post office, financial services, so there exists 0% risk. Now it is also true that when the investors, or one general question that may arise in your mind, when risk-free securities are available like banks, post office, financial schemes, why should the investor will look forward towards riskier securities? The proper answer is, as I said right now, there always exists a positive relationship between risk of the securities and their expected return. So unless otherwise the investors are not taking any kind of risk, they will not get higher returns, rather they will get a lower rate of return by investing their money in the bank's deposit FD plans or in postal financial schemes. So they will generally get very less amount of return by investing their money in risk-free securities. On the other hand, only when the investors invest their money in the securities market or in the, what you can say, the debt market, that is invest their money in purchase of shares, purchase of floating debentures, invest their money in various mutual fund schemes. So only when the investors invest their money in the debt market, then only, what you can say, the concept of risk and return relationship arises, because there always exists a positive or direct relationship between risk of the securities with their expected return. So if the investors want a high rate of return, then definitely they have to take a higher amount of risk or a great amount of risk. Then only they can be able to get a high and convenient amount of return as they are expecting. So unless otherwise the investor don't take any kind of risk, then they will not get the higher return. That's why it has been rightly said that there will always exist a positive relationship between the risk of the securities and their returns, or what you can say the expected returns. Now from this it is quite clear that higher is the risk, higher will be the return. Higher is the risk, higher will be the return, and lower is the risk, lower will be the return. So it depends upon the type of investor that we are having or that the business is having. So when the investors are investing their money in riskier securities, then only we can say it is a risk return relationship arises. Now the investors are, I am not saying that risk free securities are good and riskier securities are bad. What I mean to say, there are different types of investors exist in the market. Mindset of different investors differs from each other. No one is correct, no one is wrong. If someone ready to take the risk, then definitely they will go for or opt for the securities market. On the other hand, if the investor is not want to take any kind of risk, then the investors will invest the money in various risk-free securities, that is bank FD and postal financial plans. Now from today's discussion, one thing is for sure, higher is the risk, higher will be the return, and lower is the risk, lower will be the return. So this risk return trade-off can also be enumerated with the help of a diagram. Let's draw that. So in the diagram, just look at the board. In the diagram, on the OX axis we are taking the risk, and on the OY axis we are taking the return. And these are the different points: point A, point B, and point C. Point A, point B, and point C. So you can see that when the risk is 10, the return is also 10. When the risk in percentage, so when the investor is taking 10% risk, it is getting 10 rupees. When the investor increases his risk portion from 10% to 20%, then automatically the return portion is also increases from rupees 10 to rupees 20. And similarly, when the investors again increases is again increases again increase it from rupees 20 to rupees 30 or 20% to 30% percentage, then automatically the return also increases from rupees 20 to rupees 30. So the curve is nothing but the risk return relationship curve. We call it risk return relationship curve. So this curve represents the risk and return relationship, which indicates that higher is the risk, higher will be the return, lower is the risk, lower will be the return. So this is nothing but the relationship between the risk of the securities and their expected returns. Measurement of risk. Another topic is that's over. Risk return relationship concept over. Now we are moving to measurement of risk. How to measure the risk? Dear students, for measuring the risk, we are taking different techniques. Average return on the securities, standard deviation, variance analysis, correlation analysis, etc. So we are taking various measures like average return, then standard deviation, next variance analysis, next correlation analysis. Now let's discuss the average return and how to calculate. So we are taking three columns. First of all, the securities. There are different securities like A, B, C, D, E. They expected returns in what you can say in rupees. So these are the expected returns 8, 10, 12, 6, 14. We may also consider in percentage also. The expected return we may consider in rupees, or also we may consider in the percentage as per our question. So these are the probabilities or the expected probabilities. These are nothing but the probabilities that we have taken on the third column. This is probabilities 0.10, 0.20, 0.40, 0.20, again 0.10, total equals to 1.00. Remember that summation of the probabilities always be equal to 1.00. It is quite sure. So the probabilities is nothing but what is the chance that the expected return will definitely come. First understand these tables carefully. It means when the investor is investing in the money, definitely the investor is looking for certain amount of return, that is nothing but called as expected return. Because since the investor is investing the money in the debt market or in the securities market, so definitely the investor will looking for certain amount of expected returns. It may increase, it may decrease, but the investor first of all will expect certain amount of return. Then probability means what is the chance or what is the probability that his actual expectations will be possible. What is the probability that whatever the expected return that the investor is looking for will actually happen? So this is nothing but we termed as the probabilities. So probabilities is nothing but what the chance that exactly the expectations of the investor will become true. So this is nothing but the probabilities, and one thing you should remember, the summation of the probabilities or the aggregate of the probabilities should always be 1.00 or exactly equals to 1. Now how to calculate the average return? Because we are discussing the first method of measurement of risk, we are discussing the measurement of risk. So how to measure that? We have to calculate the average return. How to calculate? Just we have to multiply these two columns. Suppose this is x, this is y, so the next column will be x into y. So 8 into 0.10, 0.80, again 2.00, this is 0.80, this is 2.00, this is 4.80. Just multiply with column number 2 and column number 3. So 12 into 0.40 equals to 4.80. 6 into 0.20, 1.20. 14 into 0.10, 1.40. So after multiplying, so under the fourth column I have just multiplied with this into this, or x into y, or column number 2 into column number 3. So 8 into 0.10, 0.80, 10 into 0.20, 2.00, 12 into 0.40, 4.80, 6 into 0.20, 1.20, 14 into 0.10, 1.40. So just we have to make a summation. This is 0. So the total comes 10.20. Hence we can say average return equals to 10.20 percentage. That's it, nothing else. Again summarizing the table. This is the data given to us. This is the data so far given to us, column number 1, 2, 3. And for calculating the average return of the securities, we just need to multiply the expected return with their probabilities. So that is x into y. Suppose this is second column, suppose this is x and suppose this is y, so x into y, so just you need to multiply the x into y and make a summation, whatever the total comes, that is nothing but your average return. So in this question 10.20, so average return comes to 10.20%. So it is considered that it is 10% possible that the expected return will become true, so far as investors thinking is concerned. So dear students, in today's video we have seen that what is the relationship between risk and return, how does risk and return relationship works. We have also discussed one diagram, how higher is the risk, higher will be the return, lower is the risk, lower will be the return. That relationship we have also seen with the help of a diagram, and we have also discussed the various measurement of risk. That is nothing but we can say different techniques for measuring the risk, and we have completed the first method, that is average return of the securities. That's it. Thank you.